to it on a Tuesday. Let me check my levels here, boost some things. Looks like I'm pretty low. 1 second testing. Hold on. Give me a minute. Let me turn up some levels. How you guys doing today? Let me know if this improves in about 30 seconds. We're going to talk about Bitcoin. Here we go with the levels. Much better. Okay, bang. Thanks, everybody. Let's get to it. Bitcoin right this second up 5,400 at 91,700. 91,700. What does it mean? We'll look at that. Take a look at the bigger target, which I still say that's what we're trying to complete before the end of the year. Retest that crab pattern. That's like 76. So a 1 day rally, great, long overdue. And then, of course, check it out on what Bitcoin's now doing is retesting a daily HSI, third one since the top. That's kind of big. Kind of big. You know, check it back. And then 2 more bearish days after today, you'll have a continuation dot. So I'm not, I wouldn't get too excited. We're kind of back testing that 93K level. And let's see. Let's see. I mean, I everything else in crypto, guys, there's not much left. Bitcoin's the only thing that really has meat on the bones, so to speak. Sustained gains that hasn't been given back yet, but and I'm still of the opinion on Bitcoin. Everybody, okay, the monthly chart, monthly candle is everything. Still is. How this month and then even next month follow through. How do we resolve this 50 test right now? Okay, whatever RSI indicator you want to use, we use amplified RSI. But this has already cracked the 50 last month, and we're taking a serious look now for another bar or 2 lower. That cinches the deal. Okay, so great 1 day thing. Bitcoin back here 91.7, maybe 93.2. I'm just not open to a constructive argument other than reaction relief rallies. So keep an eye on that. What it did bounce off of, though, I'll give it this. Okay, off the cycle 382, which was 83,000. And that's about the only thing I can find. You know, give me reasons why it's not 76 now versus, oh, okay, we decided to bounce real close to that all-time cycle, at least, not all time, but like that cycle 382, multiple year 382 retrace. Is that it for now? Maybe nominal reaction. We're in a kind of like a 1 to 3, 3 to 5 bar window. How much do we get out of this? Anyway, what's going on, chat? Great to see you guys. Come on back, settle in. We'll talk about Bitcoin, and I don't know if there's any other crypto you want to look at. Everybody else, you know what I'm going to say. Get the software, the TradingView version of Harmonic Pattern Collection. Everything we do is based off the levels and triggers this automatically generates. Send your TradingView username to hpc@sr-analyst.com. You have any questions? I already put the Discord link in our chat. I'll put it again. And let's give away, this will be kind of our Cyber Tuesday edition. So we'll give away a couple of free 30-day trials. And let's start now. So first person to do HPC 30, we'll give you 30-day access. And if you want 30-day to the Gold Discord, that's okay too. You can just DM me on the Discord. Full name, username for TradingView, and email address. Anyway, really quick, I wanted to show you guys something I've been working on for a long time. A real special technique with patterns, especially with the software. Something that I was featuring this morning. You know, I only had like a few people in the group. I don't care. But I'm posting this stuff of precise trading opportunities, Nasdaq 5-minute opportunity of how to know for important intraday inflections, reactions. This dot check back has been working really well for me in recent weeks, and I've been quietly refining and refining. And I just want to show it to you. This is one of the kind of the best applications in terms of if you're a futures trader, the way that we look at patterns, and it really is just breaks down to looking for software to generate this T2 icon. I know it might not make sense where it does, but that's a starting point. Okay, and for me, even I've had to kind of let go of certain levels that I would normally fixate on and just say this is the start of the process. But where's the confirmation? And if it's a generated level, super tight, or confirmation comes in a sloppy way, there's probably a nice reaction opportunity up here. And the dot is that ultimate setup. And I've done this before. I just want to kind of review it and show it to not only new people, but prior owners that are futures traders. It's been a remarkable trigger where you wait for the dot to complete, especially when you have the T2 or T1 designation. That means pattern level has been tested. This is a sloppier version, but great reaction. And on the close of that bar, the dot will form. You're looking at the open level, which was 634.75. We give it like 10, maybe 20 points beyond that, really here, but you're focused at like 34 to 44. And that's what we were doing this morning, and had really nice sharp reaction and then another retest. Both of those were within 20 points, and the triggers are that exact. So check that out, especially folks that are already using HPC for futures. The best setup is with patterns. And that's something type 1, type 2 is all basics, But again, just kind of quick review to show you guys we're doing daily, weekly stuff across the board, crypto, whatever. But then let's not overlook the 5-minute futures world of how just spot on this thing has been crushing it. Again, pattern completes designated by a T1, but the trade is not until the dot's complete. So you start looking after the dots. You really, for me, guys, I have been boosting my level of optimization. Reducing drawdown is the number one goal at that point going forward. Okay, the whole trade is dots complete, and up here for the T1, you're already targeting the level T1 as the reaction. And I caught this trade yesterday, didn't have the order at T1 to close it. I tried to manage it down thinking I was going to get more, and it checked back on me 30 points. And that's something that's, do we automatically take T1s at the level? Okay, I'm thinking more and more that's the case. Because our job is to go from confirmation in this area where it's the optimal entry, least amount of drawdown, and we know it's a T1 to target 1. So check that out. And again, if you, for those that won that, who won that? Sorry. What's up? Let's go, Jagger. Jagger, you won that 30 day. And then just send me your DM. We'll hook you up on the gold. And again, I'm probably looking to do more of this but with the bot. Also, pattern profiler information. As I told you guys, this is it. So if you're an owner, and it's owner only, okay, the pattern profiler is going to include not only patterns, but we'll have HSI dot strategy. Okay, how many times does that work? What's maximum high to low drawdown? What's best risk reward? Right now, we just have the pattern, kind of call it pattern cruncher. It's just crunching the raw data to go, when does it go from T1 to T1 dollar sign? This will be optimized. I've explained this before, but this is only for people that purchase it now, and then prior owners, and then beyond that, after really the next few days, it's going to be an add-on. But it will be updated, so understand that. It's not even updated, it's just the raw form. Probably update come beginning of the year. Anyway, make that clear. Okay, let me take that off. So right now, let me just let's see if we follow along here. If I'm looking for the next setup where maybe the intraday action, here we were oversold, had a nice little bounce, but we start looking at this arrow. Not yet until we retest it, but I'd be looking up here, 610 to 630 generally. Let's see if we get that. It's been with the specifically NASDAQ 5-minute regular trading hours. We get 1, 2 a day, and it's been spot on. Let's talk about S&P really quick. What are we doing with larger index? The futures here around 68.50. I just kind of want to show you what's happened since the recent retracement. We're up here against obvious downtrend, and probably guys are going to go back higher even for an 886, mainly because this daily double dot has been super strong. Keep an eye on that. That we could, float around here for a couple days, but I think their path of least resistance now is back for 886 nominal test. The QQQ NASDAQ, same deal. Since that daily dot, we're starting to scratch some overbought territory on HSI, amplified still. We're 625, 630-ish. Probably the weekly is what we want to look at. Really consequential of, have we broken down yet? No. This is a big deal for, is it up or down on NASDAQ right now? As long as that 50 holds, that's the weekly chart. This is our amplified RSI reading. As long as that stays up there, consider that retracement done. We will have that continuation, at least retest all, prior highs. 886 territory for now. Really thought we could get something like, remember, we're up here at the 1618 and technically still digesting this simple correction. January all the way down to March, turnaround in April. The 1618 again on that recovery is like 626, 625-ish. Technically on the weekly, we're up here still trying to work that out. A pause, put this into a pause. See how we go. I think 886, it's like, kiss 630 again. You still have things, guys, that are breaking out, all-time new highs. Apple was, 285, 286? And it's just another trend channel continuation. So it's been a little while since we looked at Apple because it's just been up, steadily up. and that continues. I mean, this is the whole argument of every market that you want to look at. We want to be able to see an upward trend and then just be buying on the oversold readings. Right now, top end of the channel, we could make a run to 300. I wouldn't be surprised. Other things like Google, which is really, I mean, it's been an insane move. Okay, I think it's due for a little bit of a pause here, but um, the magnitude of this breakout is just mind-boggling, and the extreme readings that it's generated, it's kind of busted all-time RSI readings. And as long as we just continue to print green candles, I mean, this has got a long way to go. So hopefully, 4-hour time frame at a minimum, we can just look for points like this at like 294, or what we had back in late September, early October. Little overstretched right now, but again, just probably another pause. You come back into this 300 territory, looking for continued entries. I think this is like an Nvidia situation where Nvidia just started taking off and kept going, and Google's there. Let me know what you guys want to look at. I'm just kind of working through some of the big tech names. A couple of new ideas that I think are worth close attention is still the quantum section of patterns like this. Confirmation, guys. It's a 4-hour and a daily. Sorry, let me bring up. This is D wave. Ideally, I would want to see this thing retest that dot bar, like 2060, 2050. But the probably the trigger event, and a lot of these quantum stocks are setting up. I think so. So we're down here 2022-ish. T1's like 34, guys. And that's a relevant type 1. What are we, 2 days? 2 more days to crack above that 50. That's where we can look for price acceleration. The other thing that I like here, oh, that's combo HSI. I can't get into that, but I can get into this. This is just standard HSI. We cracked the 50 a few days ago. I think if we make further progress and start to run to overbought, it will help the whole situation. At least, I'm not saying moonshot, but I think this is a great type 1, but we need a little more time. That's qubits and IONQ. You know, these are the top two. Okay, patterns. Great. Do I have confirmation? Some not yet. Others, real close. So there you go. Back-to-back pattern set up here on IONQ. And I think it's back at, give us a retest. I mean, this is 47. Main numbers like 43, 42-ish. It's still early. But the patterns here, pretty substantial stuff. You need a trigger. And you need a trend line break as well. That's a kind of a few of the big stuff. One or two things I just want to get out of the way that I'm actively looking at, and silver is probably at the top of that list with what happened in the last week or two. And I think it's what it's done we haven't seen in decades, and it's probably the only beginning. Right now, we're all-time new highs. The 1618, just going back a month, is like $54, 53.75. And there's just not much here on the weekly that would say anything's going to stop, because you go back in time, you see the all-time range. The way this is already busting prior all-time highs. It's more about this kind of monthly expansion now. 1618 is, 69, 90, 70. That I think silver wants to do that now. And so best way, in my opinion, is to be looking at the SLV to assume this thing is it's just going to continue to rip for another 2 months, 3 months, and then we see. Gold's the same way. Gold's probably would love to have a retracement like everyone else, and we are at this decade-long 3618. So by definition, it is overextended. I mean, yeah, it can go higher. Talked about it doesn't even really work is you go back to the all-time cycle, the first one, go 78, 79, run, and then all the way back down, and there's nothing there. But the kind of the point though is the last extreme cycle from that low in 96 all the way up to the initial kind of the financial crisis, hit the 2618, went sideways before any major retracement. So that went extreme. This is extreme. I think gold. I really. It's more of like I'm just hoping. I'm hoping we get a substantial pullback in gold before it does go ballistic. And I don't have any other number beyond this 4,300 level. It's and I'm just not. I'm not just saying this. It's just I've seen it before where the extreme numbers are good as targets, but of course there's other mega cycles where it just continues and goes ballistic. But we see that happen at certain levels, and I think beyond a 3618, crazy things can happen. Let me just put it that way. I think we're still in here 4,000 ish, but we get above here, and there's nothing really to kind of anchor off of. I think things get crazy. I've said before 5,500 is very possible, 5,400 all the way up here. So just if you're not watching gold or silver, you should be, and probably GLD and SLV are the best way to do that. There you go, GLD, what's that? 385. No, last time we had an oversold trigger was down there at 366, and that's an easy way to kind of size it up. Be patient on it, and then another one back and was in August, which was a huge move. So line those up. I think SLV is probably the one that surprises people, even over GLD. I mean, yeah, everyone's on gold. We're up here 52-ish. But like I said, after we pause here, maybe in the low 50s, this continuation to some immediate targets, which is, like I said, more like 69.70, quicker than people think. And this, even it being in the 50s, a lot of people were caught off guard. Big, just a massive chart. That looks like a tech stock. Anyway, let me know what you guys want to look at. I think I could circle back and just take a look at what are the triggers on Bitcoin. I'm thinking this is kind of an oversold bounce. I laid out where, roughly 83,000. That's the all-time 382. But again, for me, I'm just following the monthly chart. And I said this last month of this being under the 50 level. That's what I'm looking for. And I wouldn't really even be anticipating a long position until we could at least get oversold, back down. So let's see. I did want to show you guys All right, well, here you go. Yeah, I thought I Bitcoin right now printing. All right, there you go. It's a bat pattern, 92 265. Yeah, let's print this for next, yeah, Thursday. There you go. That's a bounce target. But that would be about it. We're already oversold on a couple of these. HSI is the bottom, and then there's amplified. 92.2, 92.5. And then weeklies like this. So didn't get fully oversold on HSI, and I'm watching for this kind of a thing. Bitcoin's still been in a downtrend since, amazingly, since May. An HSI downtrend since May, and I would say even with amplified, that's been since July. That would need to turn up to assume anything else. I'm not. Yeah, I'm just not of the opinion that we're. I know a lot of people are talking about QT ending today. That's something people are mentioning. Okay, liquidity is going to come back in. I would want to see some dots, quite frankly. We are retesting, like I said, some prior levels, but on its own, this current downtrend move would need to do a few things to be a real serious pivot. I would be looking for something like this that happened last year. Real clear oversold signals. We're not there yet. And for me, that still involves the, as I said, and I started today. Okay, this is actually a better one. We have two the bearish patterns. It's down here at the 78, 76 level. So there you go. Retest that crab pattern at 76.7, and that's not that far off. That would satisfy at least for this whole area of the larger retracement as kind of the end of the first wave. A few people have been sending me some notes and they said, well, isn't this a shark pattern? If you go back from March low and then we had a failed wave, we have talked about this before. It has to be for the shark. It's not an M or a W. It's this kind of failed wave that goes down to a 1618 minimum, and then you got to clip 886. And I'd say that just fell just shy. That would be a shark. Yeah, I'd look at it, but the problem currently right now is we're already overbought, kind of retesting that resistance in this downtrend. And again, last few times we've registered that, here and then there and then now again. So this should be like a 1 day, 2 day thing. 1 second. Yeah. Hey, let's do another 30-day license. Type in HPC 30. You guys want to get a crack at the 30-day? Everyone else, we're doing our Cyber Tuesday. I know it's supposed to be Cyber Monday. Cyber Tuesday special. This is the continuation. We're going to do it this week, and then the whole Black Friday, Cyber, whatever is over. It's 30% off right now. A bunch of people have taken advantage of it. Also, you get a month of the gold membership, which kind of, you can get in and see what we do on a daily basis. Check it out here on this page, and all the information is there. Okay. Congratulations there. Snellsat, you are the winner. Snellsat, you got to hook me up with sending your full name, email, and TradingView username, and then I can get that activated for you. We'll do one more, okay, on the Cyber Tuesday special. What's going on, everybody? Yeah, that's it. This is it. This is the last week, too, okay? We'll do something on Thursday, but after Thursday, after this week, the specials are over. Get with that now. If you want to just try it for free, again, HPC at sr-analyst.com. Send him your trading username. He'll set you up. All right, back to it. So, Bitcoin, where we are now, great. Glad it didn't, I'm glad it didn't completely collapse, quite frankly. That would really have been like a severe cut into the uptrend. And I don't think this is going to be a total disaster all at once. But I think once you do get back under 80, test these levels, give me some dots or give me some other oversold signals. It's gonna have to come down a bit lower. Then that's going to be, I think, real kind of washout material. So I'm sticking with that 76, 78. I'm glad it's up today. A couple others that are, noteworthy. And then if you guys want to look at a couple of things, let me know. Zcash is doing pretty much what we thought it would do, that it would fail. And the weekly, daily, weekly, all were printing signals. The dot diamond from last week. I want you guys to know that this could very likely be all the way back in an 886 reset before you know. And this is more of just kind of a case study. Yeah, I'm a little sour. I'm still a little sour. I gave up on this about 6 months ago. But a full 886 reset, just to measure, get you down there at like 105, 110. We've seen it before. You see it again. And I think this is crypto in a nutshell. Whoever had the money, the capital, and the coordination to get this running and then sustained, pretty impressive, but they've bailed out and they're bailing out now. Full 886 reset. I think minimum 100-ish, and then what would be a 1618, or excuse me, a 618. It's there. Over to a 618 off that low. That's remarkable. But that's the kind of unsustainable stuff where this is crypto, and if you got into that now and rode that to 720, 750, and then let that come back 50%, I think it's a tough way to go. It's a tough way to go. And I've been in that situation, guys. You get these fantastic runs, and then you think you're going to get more, even though it's been enough. Too much. Never too much. But expecting too much. And that's what happened with Zcash. They called for 10,000 at 700 when didn't even bother to look at, okay, what's the all-time range tell me? And we put this up, 1618 again. That 1618 off the prior cycle was 610. And that was about it. I mean, yeah, you could do a 1902 above 600 or above 650. Could not get through. You didn't know it the first candle, but by the second or third, yeah. And so now all the way back down. And that's where we are with this, what will be the kind of the legacy of the crypto years. I mean that because show me one that's at least sustained a trend like Bitcoin. I just don't. There's the list is quite small, and the trends are, you look at the charts, and in retrospect, how could people be into this thinking there's constructive price action going on? Here's FET AI, guys. This is the other one I've mentioned recently that it's, hey, let's take a look in the 20 something all-time 886. Maybe you have a confirmation and that's a massive pattern, but it's not an opportunity yet. And there's a lot of these that want to be clear. People have sent me charts and said, "Hey, this is a great pattern." Well, you need a dot. You need that trigger. And that doesn't even start until the retest. So that's what I'm looking for on a lot of these. Even stuff like Ethereum, trying to print some patterns daily. Check this out. Uh, Nice bat pattern. All right, this is Ethereum on the daily, and we have been really clear. Since 4,700, the crab pattern. I even said, hey, it's not the best crab pattern because it pulls from that intermediate point, but the rest of it works out. And I said, all right, well, 4,700 is probably something we need to look at, and we're all the way back at target 2 now. But if we didn't even have that bearish pattern, and I'm looking at the bullish pattern, I absolutely don't like when we get these red arrows against a bullish pattern. That tells me this is all just simple reaction. So Ethereum, if we come back and retest 3,100-ish, 3,200-ish, after we do that, probably go lower to test down into this under 26. And it really soon, I mean, a couple more days, a little counter bounce, and then roll back over. That's daily. That daily bat pattern, yeah, on Ethereum. Just kind of a dead cat bounce there. And then weekly time frame, you guys know that it's like, look, weekly needs to pivot out here. Maybe, yeah. But the last time we had a oversold on the weekly, look how much time it required. So that's the last oversold weekly back in February. But we didn't get the dots until early April. Same thing goes here. So it's not 3,000, it's more like 2,600 before I'd even think there's an opportunity in Ethereum. Yeah. Yep. Couple more. What's up, Wayne? Wants to look at ENA. And I think if it satisfies really what's going on across the board, it's, I kind of knew it. Your weekly all-time lows. I mean, there's a dot, sure. There's a dot, and it's oversold. But I think even in your best hope is just another quick bounce. If you got that, great. But it doesn't start until next week. This needs to close by Sunday night, and then you might have kind of that official trigger. But with the rest of crypto, it's going to be, 4-6 bars, maybe 10 bars straight up, and then back down. So got to anticipate. Not much else really trending. I think the other coin that comes to mind is Binance, just because you can go back and look 2 years and say, all right, yeah, this is clearly trending. Made great progress. All right, it's on a retracement. Are we oversold? Not yet, but getting close. I mean, it's here we go. Not too many crypto we can say have that kind of trend for the last 2 years. But that's what we're looking for. If you were looking for 2 more, I think I'm kind of pretty clear on where I'm at with this. Yeah. Ethereum is above the 50 on daily. Maybe it's cracking 50 for the first time on daily, but I would still say we're just in a reaction off of all that. Yeah, we're cracking the 50. Tomorrow, Thursday, those are important. That's definitely important, but like I said, maybe it's some kind of type 1. This just hasn't been sustainable. Think about the run Ethereum did from 1400 to 47, 4800. How much of that was sustainable? Less than half so far. That's been the problem. The moves in crypto are, I think they're over advertised, quite frankly, and just can't expect anything more than these up down scenarios. I do think you got to look at Coinbase and MicroStrategy. And I've been looking at Coinbase a lot recently with what's going on since the Type 2. Are we getting to Target 2? That's if the pattern's going to work out, then T2's already been registered and we are en route to eventual Target 2. That's going to take time, but that's the thought. Maybe this week we get a dot. It's not certain yet. And there's not a heck of a lot in terms of Coinbase turning this scenario around. So that's the backdrop. Coinbase is still down. And even if we're thinking in M and W framework of how this stuff moves, we could trace out something like this quite easily. And I'm not just saying, okay, this is absolutely going to happen, but it sure helps to trace out the possibility. So a back-to-back pattern, why not? Back-to-back bad patterns, 886 levels, all of that's, 175. 100 lower. So let's see what goes on with the weekly close on Coinbase. But that and, strategy, that would be something else. MicroStrategy had some kind of liquidation event. I think that would be catastrophic. Not saying it's going to happen, but even if I'm looking at strategy here, what's the obvious? What kind of M formation is that? Can we do it like that? No, because B point's at a 7. Software will kick it out. I actually have it. It's illustrating. I don't have it selected right now. I'll show that in a second, but pretty much have to go all the way back, and draw this as like an all-time, which it is at this point. And you're looking at, minimum 786 is more like 132, guys. And why not? Let's just entertain what's an 886 target. Under 100. These are possibilities. All right? I just want to be clear. I'm glad it's up 13 bucks today, but I'm more concerned of the longer term, monthly especially, where that it's got a full retrace. Why not a full 886 reset? We've seen it time and time again. Couple more. Is Stronghold SHX, is it dead? Looked like it. I'm still long a chunk. Here's Stronghold monthly. And all I'm going to say is there's really no more room beyond this 88 tenths of a cent HSI that just triggered last week, and you need to see the continuation now on Stronghold for this. I mean, this does have a longer term uptrend. This has made a lot of progress. Is that, are we just at the low end of this trend line, and then Stronghold's more like, If we're forget these crazy wicks, okay, and we just say, all right, that's a crypto that's definitely trending higher. We're at the low end of the channel. Obviously, it has to hold there. That has to be an inflection. Not too many that look like this. Really not. Again, there's so many that I could just click on and just depressing. They never became anything. I don't know. How about here's Mana? Okay, remember this Decentraland, and this is like 99% of them. This is meme coins. This is all of it. So these are dead. To me, that's a dead market. Um, it's a dead asset. Toxic, I would even say. I mean, you might as well go to, I don't know, casino. This is just, again, so many of these they're going to go away or they're going to get ignored. We get into the next year and then we have further progress on the downside. Bitcoin and the rest of them, people are just, it's going to be done. Maybe they have manipulative rallies, but that's about it. Mara, guys, probably the biggest kind of snapback off the last overbought signal, and that's all it was. Again, another area where this is not progression. This is not trending. This is going to be a long time and probably back down to the obvious 786, 886, under $10 to resolve this entire range. It didn't work out. The whole thing that, a few of them did, HUT and IREN, and I wonder if that's going to, when does that come back all the way back down? There's IREN Limited. Nothing. If you're looking at that, actually you just have a bearish continuation at 46, so nothing there yet. Or HUT was the other one. And look at HUT. Check out HUT. Printing the bat pattern here. I would expect it's a T2, no less. I'd be looking more like 25-ish. I don't know, guys. I'm happy it's up today. People are, took a couple lumps over the weekend, but the rest of it, I think you just kind of have to put it away. It was fun for the last few years. There's maybe a few crypto to consider, and that'd be like Binance Coin and Bitcoin. I don't even think Solana. I think there's things about Solana where it too doesn't look sustainable. I mean, here's the Solana thing, and again, pure harmonic. I really don't want to like. I'm not attacking any one person or position, but ever since the Type 2, okay, failure to go to all-time new highs, this is a massive, it's such a massive failure, especially when you're not able to take out massive multi-year, decade prior high inflection points. Not only that, perfect Type 2 that is in the early stages of trying to bounce, but 105's got to get hit. So today you're bouncing great. I don't think much of it. But eventually you got to hit T2. And if we do that, we might have to go back and loop and retest that bat pattern. I know it's crazy. I've seen it so many times though. These patterns that look left and they sit there from long ago and they end up being some kind of relevant retest point. So I'm not, again, Solana, I'm just on the chart. Might be a great exchange. On the chart, I got real concerns. And under 105, I have real concerns. One or two more. Hive on that. Another minor. Not sustainable. Just you're look what it's done for the last 4 years, and it's nobody's fault, but it's just how it's acting. You get a Hard, sharp bounce. You think it's going to do something, it's right back down. Hard, sharp bounce, down, up, down, down again. 886 every time. Every one of these mad rushes up were met with an 886 retrace there. And from there, 886 retraces like here. And here, right back, $2, 886 retrace. That's it. That's most of those miners. And not trending. Not trending at all. Stuff that's trending, guys, is like I think it's sometimes boring, but Caterpillar here up 9 today, and this is just massive. And ever since this daily signal, I mentioned this last week, but it can be this clear when you've got obvious trend, and then look, arrow, yellow dot, perfect check back at 552. And then you continue higher, 577 now. But I'm looking for that in, a lot of stocks like, IBM, Google, Caterpillar. There's IBM, not yet. But the other one is Cummins Engine. Okay, these are just, no, that's not it. Hold on. CMI. Yeah. Again, these are clear trending beasts, and just continue with them. These are the ones that will continue to go. They will not be giving back 30, 40% of their gains from the prior year. So Cummins Engine, Caterpillar, a few are ready, a few need a little more time, but again, they're working out. Now here's something I mentioned in the past, and now it's for real. We've got to look at Intel here. That we've been on this since a long time, and now Intel's going to make that run above 44, 45. Then we're all set for not 50, going to be like early low 60s. Intel's a really interesting candidate, and I think it's you can go back to the monthly time frame from not too long ago, especially beginning of the year. We talked about getting above the 50, like here's HSI clearly above the 50, and that was back in like March. And then again, right here, really started taking off August. Intel's one of the few breakout stories that does have a lot of potential going forward. Up 3 today. We'll get another opportunity. I mean, the last few here, down here, was like 34, 35. But these are moving. A lot of them are moving. Yeah. How about SMCI? Okay. Let's do a couple more. SMCI has the big type 2. Remember that? On the weekly. At this point, SMCI was rejected at target 1 for months. And 2227 is the exact type 2 point. You're 33 at the moment. You'd have to wait for that. But that would be a monster. 20, call it 22. Don't know why, because this is the top everybody's list. I know they had accounting issues, but let's see. I mean, I would at this point look for 22. They got earnings. When was that? Back in October. So the next one are going to be January, early February. Doesn't look good, but retest at 22 would be best. NNE. That's the nanonuclear. Yes, I like that trend. This did an IPO. Remember, if something comes out and it's brand new, okay, this is so typical. This was an IPO, came out what, that was May 20, June, 2024. There's the hype move from like 5 to 35, and then bang, all the way back for the perfect 886 retrace. And then you can really start doing some business there. IPO 886 reset. Let's go. And then along the way here, I like that on the weekly. What about the daily? You got something oversold? Oh yeah, check it out. So nice one. Who brought that up? Who brought that up? What's up, Daza? Yeah, this is a nice shark to 5-0. Couple of dots down there, 32 bucks, currently 33. I wish this would have just kind of come all the way back to giving that a type 2 tag, but I'm focused more on this confirmation. Couple of dots down here, like 30 bucks, maybe 32 I would look at. What about, yeah, see, this is where it gets interesting. Now it's hitting the 50. This is a great example. All right, now this is our amplified reading. Guys, the opportunity really starts when you hit 50 on AMP. And so NNE, yeah, I'd start looking. 30 to 32. I know it's up today, but that's starting to make, the way I think of it, like an internal progress. You get above 50 here in the next day or two. That's how you get the acceleration to go back, retest the prior zone. Go back for the shark for the type 2. There's a few of those. What's the other one? RR? Richie Robotics? Rich Tech. All right, another one here. Okay, kind of like the Ethereum pattern. I like this where you've got confirmation. The only problem is we probably go back down because, look, a little reaction, you got overbought. That's what that red arrow means. You're 350. Let's see by next week. You go back and retest XA level. It just, it got here. There's HSI, got there, rejected. And the 50 level, yeah, you clipped it, but we got to break out. To get that price really going, you have to get above the 50. That's going to need another day or two. But it's a pattern. And it's, I will give you this, that, hey, I know this was a hot stock back in September, October. Congratulations for waiting. This is what patience really gives you. Okay, we're going to assume this is maybe on a new uptrend. And here it's doing kind of an 886 pullback of, a little crazy rally. But maybe that's the start of something. It's not a bad chart. Definitely has to hold that 290, 250 area. That's not a bad argument. Let's see the retest, though. Nice pattern. Nice setup. This is another example. We can look back a year or two. What's the longer term direction saying? Okay, we're progressing here. We're not, even though this isn't even crypto, but the trend, think trend. Couple more, guys. DLR, isn't that something realty? Digital Realty Trust. Yeah. Weekly is that shark. This is another big hype stock. Done incredibly well. Did not really get clipped too badly back in March. I got to say that. But what is it, guys? Look at the pattern. Type 1 shark to T1. It just is beautiful. And there you go. You have bearish confirmation that ends the reaction. So that's still down, but a great type 2 weekly pattern. I would stick with that. I mean, look at the last time we did this. All right, this was back in 2023. Doesn't really matter. This is framework in action, guys. Super mega ideal. Okay, crab pattern with the 1618. That's the trigger level, 9154. It goes to target one. This is not just, I'm on a roll here. I'm just riffing. I didn't even mean to get into this today. But type 1 reaction. And look, the pattern is a nice structure because you're off the low to high from 2021 to 2022. So that's a massive 1618. But it's still reaction and then come back for the return, type 2 reversal. Okay, and look, you're taking it at T2, you're thinking target 2. And because I know a lot of people you get a chance with Cyber Monday, take advantage of it. I want to just show you guys the clearest approach so that you can turn the patterns into trade opportunities with this kind of precision. And it's looking for stuff like this, Digital Realty, where, okay, T2 generated by the software, arrow generated by the software, and you have 2 dots here. It's because of this prior reading as well, but whatever, give me a dot. And then the dot level there triggers and you retest it, and that's it. When you retest, after the retest, and that was at 80, it was at 90.50. Bang, retest it and go, and that has everything. So that's a great one right now. It's the same kind of a situation where you're trying to finish the type 2. You don't have any dots. And so let it come down. I'm thinking, like I said, 147.50 is a minimum with confirmation more like 144. But great example. And this stuff takes time, guys. We're looking at daily, weekly charts. So you got to understand, it could trade for months to set up, which it has done. I mean, it topped out way back here in July. Now we're November and trying to finish this type 2. AVCI. What's up, Mock? AVCI. Avicii? Unless I'm AVCI. I don't have anything, my friend. AV. Let me see. Nope. CI. Nothing. A couple more, guys. Yeah, how about short? Rivian is interesting. And I think it's got to get through next month. But yeah, 17 pretty quickly. And this is okay because you're not really worried about 17. If Rivian's going to be something, I mean, this is something where this goes to, breaks out of this long-term downtrend and goes to 40, obvious, or 25. But getting there, why not just wait for the next 4 hour? Last one was about 2 weeks ago. We're a little overbought. That's around 1480 or so. It's in no rush. I mean, really, 17 is your resistance. Come back to 14. That won't break out. Probably not till New Year. But it's interesting. It's stabilized. They thought it was going out of business. Ford, haven't looked at that in a long time. It's because it hasn't moved. Ford, you could look at a quarterly basis almost. This thing has been around forever. Minus a few bailouts. Yeah, I mean, again, Ford. Doesn't matter the market. It's just you see type 1, type 2 all over the place. The Gartley really is about this ABCD, and it's just type 1, maybe somewhere around $10. I don't know why though. I mean, company wise, there's not a lot going on here. Dividend yield's like 570, so but I don't think it's a great place to hide out. It's okay. Not much else going on there. JNK on the monthly, the junk ETF on the monthly. There you go. What's that yielding? 660. Not bad. I would say that's not bad. Not bad. Monthly has got a bullish trigger at like 90.50. Now 97. And that was from 2 years ago, but what's the daily look like? Yeah, I do kind of like that. If we can get above 98 or back above 100, that, could really be something. Right now, 660 yield. I mean, that's why you're doing that. Whatever that crash was, I mean, on the monthly, it's going to take a long time, but that's basically over. This is the junk high yield bond ETF. Pays a nice dividend. It's okay. Nice yield. Yeah. On the ADJ, on what was that? For junk? What happened there? Explain why I hit ADJ and that went like that. Daily. Oh, because that includes the yield. That includes. Okay, so I get it. That's the result with the yield included of what you received, and the other one's just pure price. Yeah, so that's all right. I mean, again, I think if you're close to 7% yield, I think in this environment yields go lower. We haven't looked at yields in a while, but it's not a big one. It hasn't changed. Okay, we've looked at 20-year yield for a long time, and it's still. Where's the 30-year? 30 better on the yield. We're still at this big 1618. There it is. Software's kicking out the crab at 463. It's 477. We're still looking for yields to roll over. I mean, they've been up here for a long time. Monthly chart, kick that out. Yeah, the monthly's got a shark at like 5. So, yields here haven't even begun to go down. And if they do get going, I mean, it's 294. Shark to 50. That's been what we've been saying for, over 2 years. That the 5%, it's a 1618. At 5%, that was basically it. Haven't rolled yet. Got it. No, I did adjust that for dividends. Those are interesting. The other one that I would say, if you're looking for something like that, the Schwab dividend ETF. Yeah, there you go. And that's just pretty remarkable. It's 375, but you see that it's invested in top companies. That's not going anywhere. There you go. Wasn't that on a, yeah, the daily right here. Not, not flashy at all, but again, parking money, that's great. One or two more, guys. I'll circle back to Bitcoin. What's it doing? Is it 92 yet? 92. 92. Up 5,000, almost 6,000. That's great. Let's see what happens tomorrow and then and the next day on Thursday because that's the follow through. Today's a 1 day, even a check back of that daily. Okay, 92. Let's see tomorrow. Yeah, I'm just again I'm more focused on weekly, monthly. For now, you guys know 83. The rest of them I don't have too many things that I can say, hey, this is a buy. I wouldn't, in terms of Bitcoin being a new long position, not really. I don't think this is a pivot low like I did back in March, April. Really clear of that. I think this needs to show me some more. I guess. Yeah, I would, guys, I think the stocks, after we get through this month into January, what we're already thinking about is next year. Okay, get to like June of next year. There's so much breaking. Be a lot of noise, but the things that are trending, that's what I'm going to feature. I'm going to stay away from the speculative. Can this recover from the basement? And Bitcoin's still a trending asset. I'm not going to deny that, but I feel like internally it's already violated some necessary readings that a little bit more to go, and you got real problems. There's your channel, guys. There's your weekly channel. And what I would say, what happens down here is really, do you give it that much allowance when every prior low has, not has been able to hold? That's what's at stake. Yep. Okay, let's give away one more. HPC 30 for the last person. You get that 30-day package. If you guys want to, join me in the Discord, DM me as well. I need your full name, email address, okay, and TradingView username. Red Oaks Ranch, you're the winner. Got it. Send me a note on the Discord. That's great. Yeah, this is our Cyber Tuesday edition. We're giving away a couple of 30-day packages. And everybody else, listen, get this week's it on the Cyber Black Friday thing. Okay, get the software 30% off, renew, whatever. If you purchase, this is for TradingView. Okay, you can get the pattern profiler too, but that all expires this week. All the information is there in the chat. Any questions, just connect with me on the Discord. That's the best place to do it. Winners, you got to reach out to me over in the Discord. Everyone else, just get your free trial. Send your TradingView username to hpc at sr-analyst.com. That's what we have for our Cyber Tuesday show here. A lot to follow through. Let's see what happens by Thursday, guys, especially with this Bitcoin crypto scenario. I hope it can bounce a little bit more, but again, maybe 93, maybe 95. Keep an eye on it. All right. I will catch you guys on Thursday, 12:30. Got any questions? You know where to hit me up. Until then, as always, go get them.